Hello, good morning. Welcome to the breakfast meeting here on NBS Television. My name is Isabella Hatugum. It is 90 days of oil and mining. Our conversation yesterday was pertaining to insurance in the oil and mining sector. Our topic of discussion today is transportation and logistics readiness for the oil and gas development. Joining me for a broader conversation within that regard is Robert Habaasa, the head of logistics operations at Total E&P Uganda, and Hussein Kiddedde, the chairperson, Uganda Freight Forwarders Association. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Good morning.
How are you, Mr. Kiddedde? How are you?
Fine.
First time in our studio, I presume.
Yes, beautiful.
That's beautiful. We appreciate it as well. You agree? All right, so I'll start with you, Mr. Habaasa. What are the probable volumes of goods to be shipped into the Albertine region and over what period of time?
Before I talk about the expected volumes of materials and equipment to be transported, I think it's important to first put it in perspective and context. We have an integrated project which is comprised of upstream, midstream, and downstream. The upstream development project includes Tilenga, which is led by Total in Uganda, and we have the Kingfisher project, which is led by Sinok. And the development of the upstream projects will involve the construction of the central processing facilities. It also involves the construction of flow lines and water abstraction stations, and also drilling of over 400 wells. The midstream project involves the development of the East African crude oil pipeline, which will be shipping the crude from Uganda to Tanga in Tanzania. And the downstream project will involve the construction of the refinery, which is the project that is led by the government of Uganda. So we have different categories of materials to be shipped to the Albertine Graben, but also we have material that will be moved within the Albertine Graben. So the categories of materials we have are those that will be imported by the drilling and oil companies, material that will be imported by the engineering and construction companies. Another category of material that we have will be the materials that will be sourced locally in Uganda, which includes the steel, includes the cement, includes the consumables, and the food products. We have another category of materials that will be moved locally within the Albertine region, which is the basically construction materials, which is to do with gravel, with maram, with aggregates, and with sub-base and base materials, which will be used for the construction of the access roads and for the well pads. What's notable here is that over 95% of the materials which will be transported and shipped to the Albertine region will be sourced in Uganda, which creates a very big opportunity for Ugandan companies and Ugandans to participate in this amazing project.
All right. Mr. Kiddedde, do the logisticians fully understand the sector in the sense that do we have enough trackers, manpower, and do they know how to partake of these opportunities?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Morning, viewers. You know, we have been part and parcel of oil and gas as logistics. We had a lot of exposure during the exploration phase. A number of logistics companies participated. So we have quite a good idea of the standards in terms of health and safety, in terms of service quality. You also realize that we have a number of companies now registered on the National Supplier Database. So I would say, yes, we are ready. However, there is need for us to get more involved in the preparation. Logistics is about planning. We need to know when and what to position. That's critical. And it will build into the final cost of the project. Right now, there is a gray area around some specifics, such as the size of the pipes. There have been discussions on the length of the pipes, whether it's going to be 18 meters or 12 meters. That has an implication on the configuration of the assets. We've given our views as industry on what we think is more sustainable, because we're trying to look at the time beyond oil and gas. You know, we had a number of players who burnt their fingers. Many of us did so in the exploration phase. So we need information. We need to be part of the preparation. We need to know the standards as well that are required. For example, the crane operators. We don't know whether we're going to require the Chinese standards or the European standards. The faster that comes out clearly, the faster we ramp up and prepare, get our people certified, get the right manpower. Of course, issues around skilling of drivers, because transport is a critical component. We still need support. This is joint effort, and initiatives had been embarked on last year with the Petroleum Authority, the Ministry of Works and Transport, as well as the National Logistics Platform. So I would say, yes, we are ready, but we need to work together.
All right. Yes. Mr. Habaasa, have the contracts in the sector been packaged, and are there probable timelines that service providers can be given?
Yes. So maybe before answering that question, we are looking at transporting to the Albertan region over 5 million tons of materials and equipment and over 500,000 cubic meters of liquid over a period of 4 years. The cost that is attributed to this transportation is in excess of $500 million, which is a big opportunity for many companies here in Uganda to be able to partake. Yes, the logistics contracting strategy for this project has been designed in a way to enable many Ugandan companies to participate. For example, we have different logistics services that will be contracted directly by the company, and we have also others that will be directly contracted by our service providers. For example, for the drilling and wells companies and for the engineering and construction companies, they will be responsible for sourcing their transporters, for sourcing their freight forwarders, and also for sourcing their customs carrying agents. We have got different types of services under logistics. One of them, to mention a few, will include the transportation of passengers from Kampala to the working fields, using the light vehicles, using the vans, and also using dedicated aircrafts to move people between Entebbe Airport and the field airstrips. Can you imagine we're going to have more than 15,000 people working within the oil fields? That creates a very big opportunity because we have to construct on camps where these people will be accommodated, and when these camps are constructed, they have to be maintained, they have to be repaired regularly, and of course, it will require a host of other services, including catering, including accommodation, including recreation services. So there is an opportunity for everyone to participate, and there is an opportunity for everyone to take part in this great project. You also may note that previously I said that we will be importing some materials from the international market, and today we intend to have these shipments cleared at destination. So it means this will attract services of competent Ugandan companies to manage the bonded warehouses before these materials are shipped from the storage areas to their final locations. You also note that today we are using the different logistics corridors, which is the northern corridor and the central corridor. We are looking at having a track and trace system that will help us to ship, to monitor the shipments when they are leaving the overseas countries into Uganda. Of course, with the influx of the many vehicles that will be within the Albertan region, there is a need for a control tower to manage the traffic movement of vehicles within the field. And of course, when all these activities are happening, they will generate a lot of waste. So there will be opportunities for licensed companies to manage the collection, the transportation, and the disposal of this waste. This also comes with a lot of need for security services, come with a need for medical services. So basically, where we are today, we have a very good opportunity for each Ugandan companies to be able to participate.
All right. Hussein, what has been done to ensure that combined effort to take over the transportation aspects of the oil and gas industry are done? Do you have any collaborations within the country or at regional level? And of course, what is the impact of the delays?
Okay, a lot has been done. The background is we learned a lot from the exploration phase. We had our challenges as an industry, and I must say the industry is broad. We're not only looking at the customs agents. We have the customs agents, the transporters, the warehouse operators, the shippers as well, It's a broad industry. So what we have done is we have come together, the various associations under the private sector foundation. We have the National Logistics Platform. And the purpose of this was to have a framework where we have meaningful dialogue among stakeholders, including government and the regional bodies. This has made us achieve progress in terms of ensuring preparation. For example, we have worked with the revenue authorities in the region. In Uganda, we've worked with Uganda Revenue Authority, and to date, we have trained 1,680 clearing and forwarding agents. They are trained and certified. At the time when the exploration closed off, I think we had about 900 or 1,000. So the number has gone up. The number of companies that are now licensed as C&F agents is 523. 5 years ago, it was around 300. So it's really stepping up. As Uganda Freight Forwarders Association, we've partnered with the Chamber of Mines and Petroleum in the last few years, even during the dry spell. We've had a number of conferences. We've worked with the IOCs in the Supplier Development Forum. So we have a vivid idea of what should happen. There's another association, the Association of Uganda Oil and Gas Service Providers. We have an MOU with them, and they have linked us with the Tanzania Peer Association. So once the projects roll out, we should see more collaboration and networking.
All right. Well, thank you so much, sir. To you, Mr. Habaasa, do you think, or are there any initiatives by Total E&P to support logisticians to prepare adequately, especially for the negotiations that are ongoing with government?
Well, my colleague touched on a pertinent subject that has been an interest for us for a long time. We have a lot of initiatives that has been implemented, and more are yet to come. And all of these are aimed at creating awareness and providing information to all the service providers. We hold the quarterly supplier forums, and in these quarterly supplier forums, we provide information on what it takes, for example, to work in the oil and gas industry. My colleague here mentioned about the need to communicate the standards. Yes, we've been communicated the requirements and the standards for different trucks, configurations, and different equipments and different lifting equipments. But yes, it's a continuous effort. We'll continue to provide more information to the market, more to the public, to make sure that they are all prepared to partake in this project when it starts. We also communicate to our contractors and other service providers in the market the contracting processes from the time when an expression of interest is launched up to the time when the contract is awarded. Yeah, but of course it's a continuous effort to make sure that we provide awareness, we provide timely information to enable the local players do the right decisions and also be able to invest wisely.
All right. To you, Mr. Kiddedde, what innovation or capacity building initiatives have the freight forwarders undertaken in the waiting time? And of course, what exact capacity is available in the country?
Okay, I've touched on that already. We have 1,680 certified clearing and forwarding agents, but there are other initiatives as well. For example, we have a registration board now in place, which is a regional board covering the other 5 countries as well. That is Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and Zanzibar. We're trying to make sure that there is a framework for practitioners and their levels of recognition. If somebody is going to work as a warehouse operator, they must be certified. And to that length, we have also now brought on board the FIATA diploma. This is an international diploma. Increasingly, logistics is about certification and skill. So this diploma is coming to Uganda. Uganda will be the 5th country in Africa to have it. So we'll have our people certified. We'll have those who are already certified as C&F agents now progress to get this international certification. We've also come up with a standard operating procedure during this time of COVID. These are regional procedures that have been adopted for transporters and warehouse operators. Collaboration has increased. I've talked about our relationship with UCMP, our relationship with UGOS. The other area, again, in a bid to step up capacity, we have signed MOUs with some government ministries. One of them is the Ministry of Works and Transport. We are concluding another one with the Ministry of Trade. And here we want to be able to extend advocacy to ensure that the industry is aligned and there is value for money in whatever we participate in.
All right. Yes. Robert, in the past, service providers, inclusive of truck drivers, were accommodated in camps. As you pointed out, COVID-19 sort of had an impact on the mode of operation. So does it change the narrative? Has COVID-19 changed the narrative? And are there any new policies as a result of COVID-19?
Yes, we are all dealing with unprecedented times, and COVID-19 has impacted us differently. Yes, we've been working, and we are working with the Ministry of Health and other key stakeholders to develop robust plans to make sure that whoever is going to be working with us is going to be safe. Yes, regarding accommodation and policy implementation and update, yes, today we accommodate people, and we will continue to accommodate people. The reason why we do that is to minimize the footprint, because you can imagine if you allowed each contractor to set up an accommodation camp, you will have the whole Albert and Graben filled with camps. So we try to minimize the footprint. So most of the people working with us will be accommodated, but not only accommodated in the company-operated camps, but also will be accommodated in the contractor-operated camps. In terms of policies, yes, we are really updating our health and safety policies and procedures as far as COVID-19 is concerned, to make sure that whoever is going to be working with us finds a safe working environment. Safety is very important for us, so we consider that it's an important aspect that we must work on to make sure that we are prepared.
All right. To you, Mr. Hussein, how has COVID-19 impacted the transportation and freight forwarding business, and does it in any way impact the readiness of the subsector?
I must say, as the logistics sector, we're taking a very big risk in this, contrary to what you might see on some social media platform where we feel that maybe the drivers are favored, but they are the ones carrying the essential goods. The asset turnaround has been poor because of the protocols of testing. Even right now, as we speak, the queue is over 40 kilometers at the border. So a trucker that was doing 3-4 trips a month, Mombasa, Kampala, is now doing 1.5 trips. You have a bank to pay, you have insurance to pay, you have the other fixed costs. A truck only makes money when it's on the move. So that's negative productivity as a result of COVID. It's also affecting the pricing, of course. Right now, moving a 20-foot container from Mombasa to Kampala is much higher than moving it from China to Mombasa, because people have got to factor in the cost of delay. But even then, it's not covering the cost. We've become more vigilant. I've talked about the SOPs. Companies have stepped up their health and safety policies and procedures. We are embracing technology, which is a positive aspect to COVID. Previously, it was an industry that was so manual. People believed in touching the money before the truck leaves, getting the physical document. But we're embracing technology, and also thanks to URA, they're moving in that direction. They were actually moving faster than the industry, but we're catching up. We have journey management plans now, which is also good for oil and gas. This is something we carried on from the exploration phase, but now with COVID, it's back. We really have to implement it. There's more accountability. People need to know where there's accountability and visibility of the trucks, of the cargo, as part of health and safety, but in the process also improving service quality.
All right.
Yes.
And finally, to Mr. Hussein, what kind of support would be needed to support your operations?
Well, that question we've answered so many times. If it were government asking me, I would ask them what they have in mind for us, because there was a baseline survey in 2013 where a number of requirements were highlighted. But I might mention a few here. One, we need to have partnerships. We need to be part of the planning process. That is key. We need to have road safety as top priority. Robert has talked about 15,000 people. These are expatriates. You lose one expatriate, a rig will not operate. That's $100,000 lost a day. So road safety is a key issue. Yes, we have drivers, but we need upskilling. We need to fast track the self-regulation bill. As private sector, we've come up with a self-regulation bill for the industry to ensure that we are accountable for whatever we do. We step up our standards. We need creative financing and insurance packages. The assets are costly. They have a short lifespan. It's not like putting up an apartment which will last for hundreds of years. A truck would last productively in oil and gas perhaps for 7-10 years. But it costs the same amount as an apartment that will fetch you 1.5 million a month. You're looking at over 600, 500 million per truck. And those are the standard trucks. We've been engaging with financiers, but we need to deepen these engagements because there have been loopholes around how we're being financed, and we've analyzed this during the recess. You go to a bank, you get a facility, the relationship manager does not know the business you're engaged in until you start defaulting, which shouldn't be the case. The bank should even find out where was the driver, the guy who is going to move this 500 million shilling asset. Was this guy certified beyond the license? So we have a lot of discussion to take up. The insurance, we're insuring the cargo. The cargo owner is insuring it. The truck is insured even when it's parked. There's a lot of variation that needs to take place to ensure that the cost of business is managed. Lastly, on that is we need to call upon government to ensure that they have targets and they follow through. We've had so many discussions on a number of things, but they are not taking off. Some departments are trying, like URA. Yes, there is there are targets, although again it's done in a shabby way because you give the targets, but it needs to flow down to the last person so that you know that I want to collect the taxes, yes, but what will happen if I hold this cargo for 5 days? What's the impact? You weigh the risk. Are you going to get more money in the process, or this guy is going to clear the goods, the shipper will sell, go back, buy, and then so this cuts across the entire government spectrum. And I think this is a conversation we need to have. And maybe for the IOCs, now that we are less fragmented, you know that we have the PSFU, we have the logistics platform where all the associations converge. Let's have the dialogue.
Thank you so much. Thank you too as well. It was really nice having you. Before I let you go, it's only pertinent that you look into these cameras respectively and tell the viewers what you want them to take home from the conversation we had this morning. I'll start with you, Robert, and wind up with Hussein.
Thank you. Participation of the local services, participation of the local service providers in the provision of goods and services, the industry is very pertinent for us. But as well as you know that the oil and gas industry is heavily regulated, so compliance to the local laws and international standards will be a very important point. I'll call upon Ugandans that we have an opportunity here. We call upon all the partners and all the Ugandan companies that it's time to get ready. For those that are not yet ready, the time is now. Opportunity will always find those who are ready, and if you're not ready, then the opportunity will fly away. So we have an opportunity that has been presented to us. I call upon the different partners that please get ready and we take part in this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you too, Mr. Hussein.
Thank you. My parting shot would be one, to call upon government to ensure that there is alignment on certain operational issues. For example, the cross-border fees in the region. If the pipeline is what we are going to start with, and it's Tanzania, Uganda, we still have the unanswered question of the $500 per truck, the Ugandan trucks. If we are to go by the figures that Robert has mentioned, 5 million tons, that is several truckloads. You are looking at over $80 million that would be lost because that decision is not being made. We're still paying $500. If we are going to participate, we need to be very intentional on the meaning of local content and what is sustainable. Lastly, to our employers, that is the IOCs and the contractors, there's a lot of investment this side, so please try and make sure that you pay good dollars for the service. We know it's going to start at a time when the price per barrel is low, but again, there is a cost to providing the service. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Thank you so much for coming in to enlighten us on this particular topic. We were discussing, trying to understand particularly how the transportation and logistics sectors and industry are prepared for the enormous opportunities within the oil and mining. It is 90 days of oil and mining here at NBS television from the 26th of August all the way until the 26th of November. But this particular session will be uploaded onto our Next Media YouTube channel, just in case you want to listen in and partake. I do have another session coming up shortly. Do not move a muscle.